Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. Thanks for watching. My name's Rich Trani, coming to you from San Jose. On our program today is Pete Foley, who's the CEO of RingCube. Pete, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, Rich.
Well, thank you for being on our program. I was hoping to start off by getting an overview of your company, please.
Sure. RingCube Technologies develops a virtualized workspace. So we're in the desktop virtualization industry, which basically means that we allow enterprises to be able to separate their virtual desktop, their applications, their data, and all their personal settings from their physical hardware. So you're effectively, by decoupling that workspace from that physical hardware, it really allows the enterprises to be able to manage that workspace in a centralized manner. So they've got much more control over how you manage those applications, manage that data, manage those employees' desktops. At the same time, it allows the employees to be able to access their personal workspace on any device anywhere. A couple of big advantages are, again, reducing the cost of managing those workspaces, additional security that you can implement and institute by, again, providing a virtual workspace versus a physical PC. Business continuity, disaster recovery, as you can imagine, the ability to not be dependent on my physical hardware. So if there's a corruption, if I have a failure or broken PC, if you will, I can just go out to the store, buy a new one, and I can actually then access my virtual workspace, which again has all my personal applications, all my data, and all my personal settings.
So is it a screen sharing client that the user sees?
Well, it's unlike a screen share, which would be really rely on the computation being done somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. Somewhere in a data center, right, or off of another server or another even PC. We're actually doing all the computation on that local piece of hardware. So we're actually sharing the resources of that PC, which is significant in the sense that there's a lot of cost savings. You don't have to effectively double and then some your hardware computation in the server and the data center area. So again, you think about really just opening up your PC, launching a browser-based icon that then effectively shares that PC. So you're effectively partitioning that Windows operating system. You're giving yourself a personal workspace, and you're giving yourself an enterprise workspace. And that's important if you think about the at-home worker, the truly remote or mobile worker, where you don't necessarily have a lot of access to that employee's physical PC. You now can distribute this virtual workspace from which they launch on their PC. So you're effectively securing as well as being able to manage that now.
Are there any limitations in terms of the types of software that you can support?
No, that's a good question. Anything that we are dependent on the Microsoft Windows operating system. So we are a Windows-centric company, meaning that all your applications, including security products such as VPNs, will run inside of our virtual workspace. But as you know, 95% of the enterprises are standardized on Microsoft.
Now, when you start to get to the high-end applications such as Photoshop and that sort of genre of, let's say, graphic processing unit intensive apps, is that an area where it wouldn't make sense to go with a solution like yours? Or
no, again, very good question. But again, because we're using all of our applications are being locally computed, meaning we're taking advantage of that local CPU, that local RAM. So we really allow for native-like performance. In fact, we'll run at 99.8% of your native PC performance.
Really?
So there are no limitations on apps. We've had a lot of success in verticals such as call centers because there's some very, very intensive apps such as VoIP.
Now, if you have a low bandwidth situation, not a problem?
No, again, we're doing all our computation locally, right? So,
yeah. Okay, got it. But I'm imagining, what if you've decoupled to the point where there's a server room which is hosting that application?
So the application is actually not being hosted. We're actually pushing that application. So we actually create a master image or a master workspace which contains the application in addition to the personal settings for that end user. That master image is then pushed down to that local CPU. So there's a one-time bandwidth issue, absolutely. But once that master workspace lands on top of that endpoint, all your computation now is being done locally. So you're getting the same type of performance with that application that you would get on your native PC.
And so contact centers does seem like a natural then for that sort of market,
Absolutely. We've had particular success in the work-at-home model, where there's the ability for the work-at-home employees to actually use their own PCs, because you've got this secure virtual workspace that sits on top of that PC.
It makes a lot of sense, because now you're not able to necessarily easily capture customer data from the house. I mean, I guess you could do screen captures, but you might be able to disable that. That's a probably.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, PCI, HIPAA, all of your regulatory compliance is something that we've built into our policy engine, so that the administrator within that contact center can set those policies such to disallow screen capture, disallow any type of rights to a external storage device, cut and paste, copies, print screens, all of the data leak prevention policies that are important for compliance and for safe harbor.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's next?
Well, next for us is, again, execution. As you know, we're an early stage company. We've had some major wins, including the largest BPO in the contact center space, and we're going to try and take that and leverage our footprint in the work-at-home model back into the campus contact center.
That's great. Well, good luck, and please keep us posted.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Likewise.